Today, I want to teach you that while journalists do notice stories every day, the best journalists do more than that. They investigate issues that matter in their community, and they find the stories that reveal those issues. Then, they craft new stories to illuminate those underlying issues. Writers, let's start this work together. I mentioned that when I reflected on the issues my writing tends to focus on, I found that I care deeply about social issues that affect young people and about invisible pressures in education. Recently, that's led me to want to find and tell news stories that make it clear how tremendously difficult it can be just to be a teen. So that's a reason for me to write, to teach people about this issue and make it more visible. Journalist, the time will come soon when you'll need to do research that you can't do in front of the computer screen. Journalists have to get out there and follow their stories. They interview people, they collect background information. When they write not just about a story, but about an issue, though you're not limited to a single event or moment, you can consider and delve deeper into various true stories that might illuminate this issue. I think you already know how to do this work, so I'm just going to dive in. Follow along and be ready to do this work on your own. Some steps writers take to collect significant stories that will illuminate an issue. 1. First, I ask myself, would others in the community care about this issue? Would it be important for them to read about? I'm writing journalism, so I have to consider social significance of the news stories I write. For instance, I've said so far that there are two issues I think matter: difficulties that teens face and pressures in education. The second is probably only important to teachers like me. The first, on the other hand, is relevant to kids, parents, and teachers. The second step I follow is to say a bit more about the issue. Just say more words about it. Another way I might say this about my issue is there's a lot of pressures that teens face. Do you have any other ideas? Are there that you could name this issue? You might have thought that it's tough being a kid, and sometimes nobody really understands me. Or you might be thinking it's hard to be a teenager. Teens can be misunderstood. These are all different ways to name the issue that I want to investigate: difficulties, pressures, hardships of being a teenager. Yes, that lets me cast a wider net as I fish for stories. I'm guessing this work feels familiar to you from when you've written literary essays about themes or issues. Here's the thing. Just as you delved into a novel and collected scenes that illustrated an issue or a theme, you can collect news stories in the same way. So let's go on a bit. Just like you might flip through a novel, I can flip through the stories that I've got in my notebook or in my head as a way to get started. Like when I witness a scene with a kid who was misunderstood when he was trying to help someone park. That's a starting place. So now, if I really want to tell that to teach about this issue, I'll need to rethink what parts of that scene will be most important. Perhaps the people who were muttering about the kid would be a good place to start. Writers, of course you'll want to get going with this too. This work should feel familiar to you. You've collected evidence for themes and issues before. I know you did this work in literacy essays, and many of you have undoubtedly written persuasive essays as well, right? So right now, let's give you a chance to get some of this started too. You want to 1. Narrow down 1 or 2 issues that matter to you and that are significant to the community. 2. Gather some words around the issue. Say it a few ways. 3. Set yourself as a journalist to finding true stories that illustrate the issue. Journalist, now it's your turn. Go back to the lesson platform to see the next activity.